So, pass me that Tanakh, please. Yeah. Everybody, okay, so I wanted to share something on Hanukkah. We have a little short piece. And a little bit more chavrusa maybe today than the usual shir because I get as much chance to prepare as I usually do. But Siyad Shmaya, the Yavanim, the Chashmonaim found the Pach Shem, and so I found this pretty quickly. And we're going to learn some chidushim. Now, what we have to make ourselves aware of and get ready for is you're always looking for the chiddush. Everybody has heard tons of stuff on Hanukkah. We've gone through many Hanukkahs, and the basic contours and outlines of the day are known on a certain level, but because of that, we always want to hear the chidush of each thinker, like what's he bringing out, what nakuda is he bringing out that I didn't hear before, that lights up things in a different way. Okay, so I think that's what we're going to hear in our short shir today. And two lead questions, I always like to think which questions are answered by the piece that I'm learning. So which Ab does Hanukkah relate to and why, right? Usually we didn't necessarily know that, but in fact we'll see that every gullus that we went through relates to a different Av, as I'll explain.
What do you mean by Av?
Like Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. So which of the Avot does Hanukkah relate to and why? And what is exactly Yavan's game? Right? We know Yavan is called Choshech, Yavan is all types of problems, but what is exactly? So those are some of the ideas that in these two paragraphs Shem MiShmuel will relate to. So this is from Shnat Tafrei Shayin Dayed. Umatzu Pecha Pas. This is the lashon of the Brisa, which the Gemara in Shabbos brings. Umatzu Pach Echad Shel Shemen She'echatim B'chol Tmo Shel Kohen Gadol. Okay, so everybody knows that, right? The Yevanim came in, they didn't destroy the Beis HaMikdash, they were Matama, and now there was the rededication of the Beis HaMikdash. It takes 8 days to get new oil. By the way, why does it take 8 days? It says that they used to take the oil from Tekoa, a place called Tekoa, and it took 3 days to get there, a day to make the oil and a day to get back. So they had enough for one. That was why it would take altogether that amount of time. VaYeishev Farsh, Dinei Kvod Kedusha, as always, the Shem MiShmuel quotes his father. Dinei Kvod Kedusha. So that's another thing I like about the Sefer very much. He always starts with his father and continues. Like you Bonev Mosif al Divrei Aviv. It's Kibbut Avei, but it's not just Kibbut Avei. I mean, his father, by the way, was considered in his mano like one of the greatest gedolim of his generation. Many called him like Sarah Torah. He was very great in Halakha, very great in Kabbalah. Davnei Nezer and Tshuvas and the famous Sefer Egli Tal and Shabbos. Anybody who learns Shabbos learns his Sefer, so he's a humongous person. So what did he say here? The Yevanim B'tuma Yaakovinu Alav Shalom B'Kedusha. Okay, so like I said, we're listening to Chiddush. So I've learned I've learned for years about Hanukkah. I don't remember ever hearing this idea, but the Yevanim, right? We always have like the pasuk in Koheles tells us Zelu Madzeh Aselokim. The Kochot Hara and the Kochas HaTov. There's always a balance in the world, and the Kochas HaTov and the Kochas Hara Zelu Madzeh. This is against that Aselokim. So Yaakov is Keneged Yavan. You ever hear that before?
No.
Which I'm sure there's a whole world of development we could do with that. But Yaakov Avinu is B'Kedusha, and Yavanim are B'Tumah.
Also because it's the third Gullus, third Av.
Oh, excellent. You got it right away. Very good. See, you're good at this. Shalosh Malchiyot, the Rishon, Neged Avram Yitzchak Yaakov. Yaakov hu Lumad Yavan. As Maral speaks, we have 4 basic Gulliyot. Of course, we dealt with other people, right? Now we're in what some call the 5th Gullus of Yishmael, which the Maral discusses why wasn't it called the Gullus, but they knew about Yishmael. Yishmael.
Why we're not in the 4th Gullus still? Because we came back to Israel.
That's no, we're still in the 4th Gullus, but now we have a little bit of Yishmael flavor to it also. There's also Yishmael Gullus, which is discussed. The Rambam wrote about it in Yigaret Teman. The Maral talks about it in Ner Mitzvah. But anyway, so what were the Gulliyos? We had Bavel Paras, Yavan, and then Edom. As you said, we're still in Edom. And a little bit of Yishmael was Mitzrayim beforehand. Also, why wasn't Egypt? Why was in Egypt called the Gullus? Okay, because that was the Shorosh of all the Gulliyot. But fine, but we had these basic 4 Gulliyot, and that comes out that Bavel was Keneged Avram, Paras, where the Purim story happened, was Keneged Yitzchak, and now we have that Yaakov's Keneged Yavan, and that's if we stop right here, we all learn something. That's something we could all think about over Hanukkah, like what does Yaakov and Yavan relate to it? So we're going to obviously show here. V'nei Yaakov midah. So what was Yaakov's basic midah? Is emes. Midah is k'moshe kasav titan emes liYaakov. Famous psukim at the end of Micha. Titan, which Tamar Dvar is based on, the first paragraph. Titan emes liYaakov. Yavan, this is really what I wanted to learn. This is supposed to be midasam hata'ah v'sheker. The Yavan is the exact opposite of truth. Midatam hata'ah v'sheker. The trickery, chicanery. That's their game. What exactly is Yavan's game? Their game is trickery. The Yavan hu lashon hona'ah. Like hona'ah means to get tricked. Now, I just want to look at this for a second. And let's see, look at Yechezkel Yud Chezayin. V'ish lo yuna. I'm going to translate this. So we have a pasuk, you can look it up. Pasuk Yechezkel Yud Ches. Let's see, together. Zayin. V'ish lo yoneh. Okay, it says ish lo yoneh. So you see in the word yoneh is Yavan. Now let's see the translation. Does not oppress any man. Oppress. Okay?
Oppress, right? Yavan oppress.
Yuna oppress, but he's learning specifically tricker.
Okay.
Let's see. Memches. Memhei ches.
Memhei chet.
Let's see that. 45 ches. We're in the Art Scroll translation. Memhei chet. Eretz Yelo lachuzab Yisrael v'lo yunu od. It shall be in his possession that the prince does not extort from him, my people. Extort. Okay? This I'm just going with the Art Scroll translation. And v'lo yunu od means you won't be extorted anymore. And they cherev hayoneh. Then we have psukim in Yirmiyahu. So Vod Rabbeim. So interestingly, you see a relation between the idea of hona'ah, trickery, extortion, and Yavan. Right? Also, so again, often we talk about Yavan as being like Choshech, so he's bringing us a new idea, not against those ideas, but complementary, that Yavan represents Sheker specifically.
And it's a contrast to
Yaakov, exactly. Vod Rabbeim. Behind Yavanim hitu. Now let's understand. What do you mean they're hitu? And I'll just add to the question for a second. We would think of the Yavanim as scientists, as bearers of truth,
empirical
right?
Truth.
Empirical truth. Oh. So, right, I personally am someone who likes very much empirical truth. There's a book on the shelf behind you called Good to Great, and the whole greatness of the book. You know the book?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, so for those who don't, let me just share for our listeners that whole idea what Good to Great did was that there was a first person named Collins. And he put it in a business context, but he said, I'm not really discussing business. I'm not studying business. I'm studying success. It's hard. Let's say talk about a therapist. What's a successful therapist? And it was very hard to figure out, right? This one said he's the greatest therapist. He's not a good therapist. You put it on a scale. You can't put it on a scale. There is a good therapist, bad therapist. There's a good Rosh Yeshiva, bad Rosh Yeshiva, but you can't really put them on a scale. So he said, in business, you can put it on a scale. So what he did was he took companies and he looked for companies that were 3 times the market. I mean, if the market growth is 4%, they did at least 12%, which is enormous growth, and they did for 15 years. He said nobody's lucky for 15 years, and he studied those companies and companies against them, and he studied success. A wonderful book because it's empirical, right? So we know that a lot of what Yavan did was empirical. So why in the world we talk about Yavan as being sheker? Behind him, Shevanim hitu es Yisrael l'mashkum l'chachmas chitzonius. They drew the Jewish people to be involved in the chachmas chitzonius, what we call the outer wisdoms. Now, right? Those have a beauty to them. Those wisdoms do have a beauty to them, but they have a non-truth to them. Vehish shu ki yoneh, not kiyona, not Yonah the bird. Yoneh, the person that's an extortionist. Puta, fote elo lev lachtor el tochnias hachachmasam, and the person can't look deeper into them. Nilka b'shchitusam achitaviel el kfir rachman al-san, until he gets the kfir mamash. Right? He's saying a very, very strong line, meaning to say that someone who can't analyze the chachma right, the chachma has a yofi, it has a chen, it has something nice to him. But if you can't go deeper into it, you can get stuck in it and can take you to very bad places. So chachmas chitzonis have a place, right? Let's say math, right? So math definitely has a place. Every person needs math. Can't work in the world without math. But someone will say, like, I'll just spend all my days and nights, we're not talking about a mathematician, parnas, or someone likes it as a study, etc. We're talking about someone who makes math into like his thing. You know, math, the yofi and the chen of it's very nice to see. What's it called? A number can't be multiplied by anything. Prime numbers, right? They have savants that just there's a pair of savants and they just sit on the floor and they throw out they're twins and they throw out prime numbers to each other. So in a certain way that's very, very nice. But and I spent my whole life just figuring out prime numbers. What did you do? I did nothing, right? But I get to a point of nothingness. There was a chen to it, there's yofi to it, and there's a necessity to it. But it can lead me away from anything deeper of what's really going going on in the Bria. And you imagine someone who say, what did you accomplish in my life? Like,
same sports.
Of
you
course.
Could just be an
sports
athlete
is
your whole life and it's beautiful about life.
Right. Sports isn't even a chachma, That's why, I am a sports person, but I have to admit it's not a chachma, right? So math, at least you take it to somewhere and use it, but when you don't see through it, and when you take the chitzoni and make it into the pnimi, but that's the point of the hataya. That's the point of the sheker. Mm-hmm. The sheker is because in a certain way sports doesn't trick you. It tricks people because we're stupid, right? The Baushari doesn't trick you. Everybody just at a simple loop.
You can understand that that's not
without very, very simply. One says, "My purpose of my life isn't to play sports." Right? Mm-hmm. Even right. when you'll notice even sports people themselves. Mm-hmm. I've heard many interviews of top athletes who will talk about something and say, it's a game. Right. It's a game. They know it's a game.
Right.
They know that.
Science or something.
Right. They know it's a game. Right. I'm making money playing a game, and I like the game, but I know it's a game. When it comes to values, someone passed away, etc. The teammate Sandy Koufax was respected for not playing on Yom Kippur, and there are many examples in sports themselves. So there's a sense again, people do get lost. People get lost in everything today, but it's not an etzem sheker because it's obvious. It's very, very simple to peel off its veneer of untruth. Mashenkin, the chachma is where the difficulty is. That's where the unit is. Beishu kiyona pota means like someone who's tricked. You get the kfira. And all of his koch will go to outside things. He doesn't even realize, right? So how you get the kfir, we didn't explain, but what we explained is more that idea, right? I spent all my time just sitting on prime numbers or sitting in philosophy is definitely like that also, right? People get very good into philosophy. Like, what'd you do? What did you put mankind forward in any way? No, but I wrote a lot of papers. Okay, but what did mankind benefit from it? No. So, but you're happy with that? Yeah. Why? Because the ideas, but what? But Eifel Ma Kain. No, so that's it. That's where the koch came from the yofi and the chain, etc. This is in our days continued. He was writing this about the 1900s. Rahman al-San, I don't want to discuss how it's happening today. Okay, we can imagine and wonder historically what he's speaking about. I don't know, but okay. And the world helps Yavan. Why? Because the world is a world full of shikarim. As Valkain hay kochim kashamot. So therefore, the koch was tremendous. So this is like again. So we're not saying anything which is radically different from what we've heard, but it's a different angle. It's Yaakov. It's not just choshech and light, it's Yaakov and Sheker. And it's seeing through where, and I guess for us it would be always, the challenge would be that I can use chachmas chitzonius, or avoid it, and not fall victim, not fall to the Sheker of it. Exactly. Bezeh timu kol hashmanim. And that's the idea of them being time kol hashmanim. Shebehechel beruchnius ad shenistam kol derech me'agia lehem kaveh or ha'emet. Right, so what's the idea of Timu Kol Hashmanim? Shemin, by the way, it says Haroah Shemin B'Chalomo Yitzapel Chachma. Gemara Brachos tells you if you see a dream, what you can wait for. It says if you see Shemin in your dream, you can be Mitzapel Chachma, and it's Kitora Or, right? The Shemin is what brings out Or. So Shemin relates to Chachma. Shemin relates to perspective. You light up Shemin, you see, right? That the room is dark, and now the room is light. And now I can, if this room would be totally dark, I have no perspective on what is this. It's a table you don't know. I can only grope and figure it out. You turn on the light, voila, and now it's all clear. All the chachma is out. So that's what light represents. Chachma represents secrets, represents revelation, etc. So Shemin, the source of light, is the source of chachma. So Timu Kol Hashmanim means they brought the physically they were matama the Shemin, but on a deeper level they were matama the whole perspective. You don't see things right anymore. There's nothing to the world besides the math, besides the science, besides the philosophy, there's nothing deeper. That's Timu Kol Hashmanim. Those chachmas chitzonis, which should be misayet us, which should be helping us. Oh yeah, of course I can learn philosophy, but now I'm going to bring it under the banner of Torah. I can learn math. You have to know math. The Gra said anything you lack. By the way, about math specifically, the Gra said anything you're missing in math, you'd be missing many things in Torah. The Gra writes that. Yisrael Shklover writes that in the Akdama to Pasa Shokhan, one of the main students of the Vilna Gaon that came to Yisrael. Yisrael Shklover wrote that. So math, of course, has a place. Music has a place, like we were talking about this morning. But if it's not coming under, if if Yaf doesn't come to Ole Shem, Yaf Telikim Lev Yoshev Ele Shem. So when it's outside, then it's mamish a source of sheker because it comes something on its own, much more than Paris and Modai become part of the sheker because they're outside. They have their own problems, but it's not attraction. Okay, very interesting. Right? And that it was held back any way to get from them to the avenues of light, the rays of light. Until they found Pachach Shel Shemen Chatum B'chod Moshe Kohen Gadol. Now we want to know what was the idea of the Chot and what's the idea of the Kohen Gadol? Why is the Kohen? Why'd it have to be the stamp of the Kohen Gadol? It could be kosher without the Kohen Gadol. You don't need. It's like saying, I need the Gadol Ador's stamp on the kashrut. It's kosher. It's kosher. No one says I want the Gadol Ador to. The Baba Rebbe had to tell me it's kosher. V'hainu al pi ma shehigid kol kedushat zakeni had more of a Gadol mikatzi. There's a typical piece. Quotes his father. Quotes his grandfather. By the way, Rabbi Klaus told me that there's a sefer that, because there's so many things that go around about the Kutzker. He said this, he said that, everybody attributes something to him. So someone wanted to authenticate the Kutzker statement, so they made a whole book of what's quoted in the Shem MiShmuel. Whatever's quoted in the Shem MiShmuel, we know the Kutzker really said. Yeah. So, Shnekudas ha'emes, this is unbelievable. Shnekudas ha'emes, look at this line. Eino nimtzas ba'olam, rak b'kohen gadol, that's an unbelievable line, right? Unbelievable line. The point, only right. Now, what's a Kutzker talking about? Yeah, there's korbanos outside, there's Torah outside, there's Chesed outside, there's a lot of good things going on. The moment of ultimate truth is that 1 second a year when the Kohen Gadol is going into Lefnai Lefnim and all reality, because everything can be taken, kaviyachol. Everything is there's some level of diversion. I'm giving a shir, but I'm getting an honor. Who knows what? I'm giving a korban. I'll call lefia madriga. But that moment when the Kohen Gadol, I never heard that lashon before. Yeah. That second when the Kohen Gadol is into the Kohen, that moment, that's the truth. Shnekuda, I was very, very taken by that lynch. Nekuda to emet ein nimtz bolom rak b'Kohen Gadol b'shash nechnas beis kodesh kedashim. Mimenu. So what happens? Mimenu. From that moment, that moment, when the Kohen Gadol goes in, that sends light to all of our hearts. That changes the whole world. And then the Nes and the Neris. Wow. So he's saying that now it fits perfectly into this whole mahalach, right? The greatest moments of truth that ever is, that ever was, that ever will be was the time when the Kohen Gadol goes inside. So therefore, to come connected the choshech of Yavon, right? How are we going to be Yavon? How are we going to be the sheker of Yavon? How are we going to be the hataya of Yavon? I had to come. Their hiskabras is so strong. I had to come from the ultimate truth. Like sometimes, you say like a little bit, a nice idea could work over here. A little you upset your kala. Okay, but it's not you really upset her. This is going to take a big present. This is not. So Keneged Yavan, we have to go to the deepest of the deep, the truest of the true, the emes of the emes. Only the Kohen Gadol's ultimate truth. When there's no distraction, I can't even explain what it is exactly, but I think we get it. That moment is the moment of truth. So I needed something connected to Kohen Gadol, and then from there things open up. Nisim happen, wonder happens, truth happens, but that had to be connected to the deepest source of truth. And the Jewish people from that or was Meir to Choshech. When it came behem ha'am ha'olchem b'choshech ro'or God, the nation, Pasuk says in Yeshaya, the nation which goes in darkness sees a great light. V'zeu nishar l'dorot, and that stamp in the world nishar l'dorot. Shezem zem sugal l'sharish et koch ha'mat'eh milev. Right, the candles we light today, right, is connected to that, right, because our chag is from that. So therefore. Right, Zeo nishar l'dorot shezem zeh besugal l'sharish et koch ha'mat'eh milev shlo yita et atzmo lo zulato lo dabek b'midat ha'emet midato shel Yaakov v'toras emes hipa chachmas chitzonis kanal. Right, wow. So that's it. So what's happening at Chanukah is we have a chance to. It's not just we have a chance to. It means the segulat hayom, the spiritual power of the day, is emes. Yeah, the spiritual power of the day is there. So right, it's a whole to get out of the choshech. Not again. I like it because it's like a different pond. It's not just light dark. It's light truth, dark sheker. Ach kol zeh hu lefi ratzon amiti. This only goes according to the true desire of a person. Ki misha darko yashar beinav eino margish. Someone who thinks he's always right, so then the nearest Hanukkah cannot help you, because you always think you're right about everything. Ach misha rodef achar nekudas emes. Right, someone who's going in his life. I'm looking for the truth about myself, the truth about Torah, the truth about the outside world, the truth about everything it could be. He can feel that the time helps him. Right. By the way, he said this on the 8th night. This is related to that. It's almost over. We're on the 8th day. And Tznos Chanukah, which is from the big days. My brother-in-law knows a lot of Pneumius Torah, a lot. So I think he told me that Tznos Chanukah is only the Chassidus Sfarim, and Litvish Sfarim it's not. No, I think, but okay, they by them it's like the biggest. I was disappointed when he told me that because like Tznos Chanukah, okay, but so maybe by the Chassidim they were Megala this. But Tznos Chanukah is kol everything, and therefore that's what we have to. He's saying that's what we have to be left over from Chanukah to touch the truth of what it's all about, and not get stuck in the Chachmas Chitzonis. Again, I emphasize, I don't know what the Shem MiShmuel's personal opinion was about Chachmas Chitzonis. For us, in our world, doesn't mean not to learn anything. It doesn't mean not to know anything.
Make sure you bring it back to the
center. Make sure you bring it, and not to get stuck in it, not to get lost, not to get tricked by it. That's the game is to get tricked, right? By anything meaningful, right? By anything meaningful, people trick themselves. A person works at a certain place, and he thinks it's very, very important. Good. But now someone else could do the job you could do, but you make a machlokas with them. You got tricked, right? That's a very, very big trick. I'm doing something meaningful. You're right, but they don't need you to do it anymore, and now it's time to step aside and let someone else do it. Mashal, right? If that would be the case. No. I'm going to aniyasem machloket. If it doesn't go my way in the shul, we have to close the shul. We have to make another minyan. You're getting tricked. You're getting tricked. That's it. The world's always. That's why the chitzonius. Again, and that's the Nakuda. That's Yavan. Yavan is Hona. Yavan is Ishu Yuneh. And it's very powerful. I never heard that before. Yavan is Ishu Neh. That's a good word to share with people. Ishu Neh. Look at the psukim. It's one of the fifth. V'lo yuna od. It's extortion, right? He extorts it. What's an extorter? It takes away your stuff. You just get involved. And that's really what happened to Yavan. They lived in a chitzonistic world, and that's what I was saying this morning. That's the choshech. The sort of Paras and Madai, Paras Bavel. This wasn't attractive to Chacham Yisrael.
It was just oppressed.
What happened to the girls in Europe? What happened to them? They went to university. They went off in the universities. You didn't get. We don't want a debauchery. It's not a Jewish way, but we're smart people. So Jews, many Jews went off big time.
You can see how this could be good.
Right, this could be, and it is good. It does have the kudah. Chitzoni is not bad, right? Is eating chitzoni? Yeah, it's chitzoni. Being good physical shelf, is that being outside nature? That's chitzoni. Chitzoni doesn't mean bad. That's an incorrect point. Chitzoni means outside. That's all it means. So outside is fine as long as you know it's outside. But when you start bringing outside inside and not under, that's when the problem is. Okay. Thank you for coming. Yeah, nice, very beautiful piece.
I feel like a good Shabbat.